Now, what's really important about Tenacity Health is that their end users and customers are not one and the same thing. The end users are employees of companies who want to use the Tenacity Health app, and the customers are the companies who pay for the employees' access to that app. I want to ask you, Hanna, you started off with the idea of corporate wellness for employees. That presupposes a very large group of people and companies. What prospective end users did you have in mind when you started out?
Well, we started out with some limiting factors, and there are plenty. Obviously, because of the nature of the solution, our users would have to be tech savvy. They would have to be interested in wellness and maybe participating in some programs, but not really achieving what they want. They have to be not necessarily extremely social, but they had to be open to being in a social solution. And obviously, they'd have to be employed by an organization. So they have to be employees. And that already cuts out a lot of people.
But it does still leave a lot of people who are possible end users. How did you refine this further and come to the realization of what kinds of end users you need to target first?
Basically, the rest of it came out from talking to potential users, and also during the beta testing, we noticed that some users are more responsive and more interested and more engaged. And we noticed that it's usually women, maybe 30 to 40-year-olds, who are have been employed by an organization for several years, are quite social, and are interested in maybe losing weight or becoming more fit, attending the gym more often. And they've been trying to do that, but they haven't been successful yet. Or maybe they haven't been really aware of all the other products out there. So this is our key customers.
Now let's turn to the company side, your customers. Again, in corporate wellness, so many different kinds of companies could be your customers. What companies did you have in mind?
Well, when we started talking, we talked mostly to large companies, because we knew that large companies in the US are self-insured, so they will be the ones that would be able to reap the most benefit. And then we talked to a variety of industries. We talked to financial industry, talked to Procter & Gamble's of the world, and lots of companies in healthcare and tech, especially here in Boston. There's quite a cluster. And we noticed that tech companies and healthcare companies are kind of more open to experimentation for various different reasons. We realized that those would have to be our first customers, because they would be willing to look aside at the kind of product we'll have, at least the very first version, which won't have a lot of features and won't be able to support all the regulation requirements. So we could have pilots with them.
You have at least two different constituents, the customer and the end user. Both need to be happy. Who are you focusing on more at this stage in your company?
At this stage, we're definitely focusing on the end users, because if they're not happy, they won't be using the product. And even though we might be able to sell the product once, we won't be able to sell it again if nobody uses it. So this is our primary goal right now.
And what makes you believe that if the end users love your product, their companies will pay for it?
I think there are good reasons to believe that it will be very successful if the end users love the product, because one of the problems with the industry in general is the low engagement levels with the existing products. The second thing that really differentiates us is that we are really performance-based, because we are able to track exactly the engagement of every single person using the product. We can have this very specific analytical information about who's using and what is it doing for them. So we can afford to price our product based on performance. And I think that would be a winning strategy on the market. Also, the way we enter the organization is really different. We don't come and launch ourselves in a huge campaign that requires a lot of marketing resources. In fact, we kind of come through a back door, and we let companies try it out. And if it works for the employees, the way the product is designed, it will spread virally. So if you know the laws of exponential growth, eventually it would be able to reach as many people as possible in that given company based on who works there. And I think that's one of the winning criteria as well.